This video is about the characteristics of stars. There are 4 ways scientists classify stars. So there are 4 different things scientists look at when they're talking about the characteristics of stars. Scientists look at color, size, temperature, and brightness of a star. A star's color depends on its surface temperature. So the surface temperature of a star is the temperature on the surface. Inside a star is millions of degrees where fusion is occurring, but on the surface of the star, we call that the surface temperature. A star's color depends on its surface temperature. So in this picture, you can see there are red stars and blue stars, orange and white and yellow, and these different colors reflect the fact that these stars have different surface temperatures. Students often ask me about this photograph and ask me if this is a real picture. Yes, this is a picture taken by the Hubble Space Telescope when it was pointed out at a globular cluster of stars in our galaxy. In this slide, you can see that the hottest stars are blue at about 40 or 50,000 degrees on their surface, and the coldest stars are red, somewhere around 3,000 degrees on their surface. So the colors of stars range from the hottest stars, which are blue, and then white, and then yellow, and then orange, and then the coolest stars have a low surface temperature, and they are red. So the hottest stars are blue, and the coolest stars are red. Once again, the hottest stars are blue, about 50,000 degrees, and the coldest stars are red, about 3,000 degrees. In addition to different temperatures, stars come in many different sizes too, from the very, very, very small stars, which are about the size of Earth, to very, very large stars, much, much bigger than our sun. Our sun is actually a very average-sized star. It looks big in the sky to us here on Earth because it's so close. But if you compare the size of our sun as a star to all the other stars in the sky, it's actually very average. There are lots of stars that are smaller than our sun, and there are lots of stars that are bigger than our sun. Our sun is just very average. It's also average in its temperature and its luminosity. It's not one of the brightest stars, it's not one of the dimmest stars, it's not one of the hottest stars, and it's not one of the coldest stars. It's just very average. It's somewhere in the middle. Small stars are called dwarf stars, large stars are called giant stars, and very, very large stars are called supergiant stars. Stars, remember, are millions of degrees in their core, where nuclear fusion is occurring. So when we talk about the temperature of a star, we're talking about their surface temperatures. Surface temperatures can vary from the cool red stars to the white hot stars, or to blue stars, which are the highest surface temperature stars that we know about. There are 2 ways to discuss the brightness of a star, or the luminosity of a star. Number 1 is its apparent magnitude. That's how bright the star looks from Earth. So how bright it appears from Earth is called its apparent magnitude. You can remember this because the word appears and apparent are very similar. So the apparent magnitude is the way a star has its brightness as it appears from Earth. For example, our sun looks really, really bright from Earth because it's so close. That's its apparent magnitude. How bright a star truly is, depending on how much light it produces, is called its absolute magnitude, or its luminosity. Absolute magnitude discusses how bright a star truly is based on how much light it produces, while the apparent magnitude is how bright a star looks or appears from Earth. The luminosity, or absolute magnitude of a star, depends on its size. Large stars produce more light than small stars, kind of like large light bulbs produce more light than small ones. So luminosity depends on the size of a star. Big stars produce more light. So to review, there are 4 properties we use to classify or describe stars: color, temperature, size, and brightness. Remember that the color of a star is determined by its surface temperature, and the brightness of a star is determined by its size. And so what are the relationships that you need to know about stars? You need to know that a star's color reveals its temperature. Blue stars are hotter than red stars. You need to know that a star's size determines its luminosity. Big stars make more light. Little stars make less light. And you need to understand that the sun is a very average star. It's very average in its size, temperature, and luminosity.